Welcome to another episode of The Net Result, where we explore different aspects of senior living and share the insights of successful leaders. Today we have a special guest, Michelle Curnow. Michelle has a vast amount of experience across multiple fields such as organ transplant, hospice, and senior living. We'll dive into her journey, her motivations, and the strategies she employs to drive success in the senior living industry. Let's get started.
Michelle, you've worked across all kinds of industries like organ transplant, hospice, and now senior living. So what drew you to this field? And I guess what keeps you energized in this space?
So I was really lucky early on in my career to recognize that working in service of some of the people in our most vulnerable populations is really what fills my cup. And so as I've moved across industries, staying focused on taking care of our older adults who are in a season of their lives to make really vulnerable decisions is really what keeps me going.
So past roles, senior living isn't necessarily new to you, but it's kind of the latest path you've crossed. How do the past roles influence your approach to leadership in senior living today?
I think that it's just really important to help my teams stay energized, focused, and really healthy within themselves. They're dealing with emotional decisions and it's not a transactional sale, it's a relationship build. It's challenging to meet people at this precipice of their life where they're making a really challenging decision on what the rest of their journey looks like. So making sure that the teams just feel supported and empowered to take care of themselves so that they can take care of the customer.
Mhm. How are some of the ways that you empower the team to do that? Any specific examples?
I firmly believe that you should have some kind of balance. So, whatever drives you, whatever fills your cup, if that's family, if it's friends, whatever you have outside of work that's important to you, I make sure to give them the grace and space to. I also really strongly run towards development and growth and whatever that means for them so that they always feel like there's a path for being heard, being listened to, and being empowered to speak up and have a seat at the table.
Nice. So yeah, that sounds like keeping the employees healthy so that they're in a good mental space to take care of clients and residents and things like that. Have you seen improvements in terms of resident care or satisfaction based upon, employees that are happy compared to maybe employees that are overworked and don't have as much say?
So, Asbury in particular has a really strong reputation of being a great place to work and a great place to live. But we definitely see, we do a lot of surveying of the prospects before they tour, after they move in. And the overall satisfaction is really high. And that does stem from, I believe, a culture of really happy associates.
Hmm. Great. Speaking of the culture, you're senior VP of sales and brand at Asbury Communities, and you oversee the whole smorgasbord, sales and marketing,
Yes.
compared to some other organizations, which might segment that a little bit more. What are some of the keys to creating true synergy between those two functions, marketing and sales?
So the key is to really have shared goals, not just shared meetings, right? Yeah, everybody can sit in on meetings together, but to make sure that the goals are aligned and that we collaborate on the business outcomes, that's where you'll find your truest synergy.
Okay, good. Are there signs or certain indicators that signal that there's some good alignment or maybe things are off track a little bit?
Sure. I mean, misalignment shows up every day in data and in behavior. So, an example of that would be marketing is celebrating how many leads that you've gotten, right? They're so excited because the volume is so high. And
Hmm.
sales is complaining that the lead quality isn't what they need it to be to close deals. So, that shows a misalignment. If they're telling a different story about the brand or about value proposition, you see misalignment there and the data shows it. When things are going really well, you see an extremely smooth consumer experience and a consumer-centric journey, and that shows in the satisfaction surveys
Sure.
and in your conversion rates.
Right. Absolutely. That's the true measurement. How many dollars are coming in and how many people
Yep.
are. So tell me a little bit more about the satisfaction surveys. Are those surveys that you give to residents or are they prospects or maybe both?
So we're blessed in that our CRM is a true partner in how we gain data and how we analyze it. We send out surveys after inquiry because we really want to get a feel for how the sales experience feels. We send out surveys after they've toured the community because we want to see what their experience was like there. Was it personalized? Was it transparent? Did they have all their questions answered? And how soon are they looking to make a change? And then we survey them again after they moved in. We survey them at 30 days after move in and 90 days after move in to give us
Okay.
some insight on what their experience has been like. And then once they're residents, we do a yearly resident satisfaction survey, and that covers everything from where they live, their actual home, and their food, the dining experience, all of the operational things. So they
Okay.
get quite a few surveys.
Nice. Well, it's good to hear that you're kind of keeping a pulse on what people are liking and maybe not liking and adapting that way. So good to hear. Um, so speaking of the marketing in synergizing with sales, I believe you have an in-house marketing agency. Do I remember that correctly?
We do. Yep,
Awesome.
that's correct. We do
That's a
everything
little,
in-house.
so that's a little bit unique. What do you think some of the
Sure.
biggest advantages of the in-house marketing agency model is, especially in today's market where things are moving so fast?
I think for us, it really is that the in-house team, they live and breathe the brand, right? They speak to the residents. They hear what's going on the ground. It ensures that we have a unified voice, that we have a unified feel across all of our channels from internal to social media and print collateral and digital. We have tighter brand governance. We make sure that our messaging is the same across the entire system. Our in-house team has access to our CRM. So they can also analyze the marketing qualifications and what the consumer's actually looking for in real time. And it helps us make faster decisions.
Yeah, that's, I think, one major advantage that the outsource model doesn't provide is a better flow of data. So if the in-house team is right in the CRM system and
They're
can make
in right.
real-time decisions,
Yeah,
that's perfect. How
they're
do
in the thick
you,
of it.
absolutely, how do you leverage that data to your advantage? So, the marketing team sees trends or conversion rate slump or whatever the case might be. Tell me a little bit more about some of the advantages of having such data-driven approaches to marketing.
So we're able to look backwards and look forward. And that means we get to experiment and pivot quickly. We can drop a campaign and see how it's doing. And if it's not working, we can pivot really fast. And if it's working really well, we can roll it out across the system at each community. We look at a lot of data. We have great vendor partners that provide us with great data, as well as our CRM data that comes in. So we're really able to look at that on a regular basis. We have a data analyst who looks at trends across all of the data that we're able to compile, and it really gives us the opportunity to move quickly.
Has there been any, I guess, for communities that are kind of considering that in-house approach, have there been any downsides to it, or I guess things to watch out for compared to other models that might be hybrid or outsourced or anything like that?
I think it's interesting when you have people who work for the same organization and everybody wants, we have the same goals, but how we might roll that out looks a little differently. And when you're using a third party provider, you're their customer. So you're just telling them what you want and you're taking their feedback as to what the market might support. But at the
Mhm.
end of the day, you're the decision maker on what you do. And when you're in house, it's really a collaborative effort to align everybody's seat at the table and make sure that everybody's heard, but that we're moving in the direction that we want to as an organization.
Sure. Awesome. What roles, I guess, what seats are filled by your in-house agencies? So it sounds like you do pretty much everything under the sun in-house. Do you rely on vendors for anything? Maybe technology wise? I know you probably have a CRM that's a third-party CRM. Any
Yep.
tools like website tools or anything like that that you rely on external parties for?
Yeah, we have a pretty strong tech stack. We have a great website provider in Fountain Digital. We have Welcome Home as our CRM. We also use different vendor partners to gain data and insights. So we have surveys on our websites that live in widgets that survey the potential buyer. We also have a virtual sales assistant, which is like a chat bot that we run through a third party provider as well. So we use a pretty strong tech stack to help support our efforts.
Is there any particular tool that's been most beneficial for you in 2025? Live chat is kind of an emerging trend that not everybody uses. Is there anything that stands out as a tool that you really feel is a really strong tool in your tool belt?
I mean, our strongest tool in our tool belt is our CRM. So we use Welcome Home. They are excellent partners, not only in the CRM itself and the end user ease, the gain back in time with automations and AI that they're ever changing. They're a great partner for that, but also that they integrate with all of our other tech partners.
Yeah.
So anytime we go to them and say, hey, we want to try this new vendor or we want to use this part of our tech stack, they integrate with them seamlessly. They've been our greatest. They're all wonderful, but our CRM company has been the best to work with.
Yeah, it's good to see that different ecosystems are coming together for the good of the whole.
Yeah.
You also mentioned AI and some of the AI features that are in Welcome Home. How extensively is Asbury using AI, whether it be in marketing or even operations? Is it something that you're just exploring, or is it something that you rely on heavily when it comes to just anything AI? I know it's a big topic of conversation these days.
It is a big topic of conversation. And we at Asbury, we're really focused on innovation and the technologies. We work with Thriveal Tech, they're our technology partner, and they really are looking at new and innovative ways to not only roll out AI across our system in all different departments. Do they have an RPA process that can help our finance team automate some of the reporting that they do? Welcome Home uses AI to help us score leads
Yep.
and tell us how much play we have with conversion. It's all about saving time and efficiencies across the system. So we use it as much as we're comfortable with right now. But what's really great about Asbury Communities is that we are so innovative and forward thinking. So we have an AI council committee, right, who are always looking at talking to each department in the organization and figuring out how can we best use AI to support whatever functions we might need to be more efficient. It's new, but it's ever changing, and we're trying to just keep up with the times.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear that you've got a special committee for that. Yeah, not many communities even have AI on the radar. So it's definitely a testament for your innovation and your forward thinking to kind of at least be keeping abreast of what's available. And because it's always changing, even, today is different than what was available yesterday. So it's difficult to keep up with the trends there. So shifting gears a little bit, post COVID, many organizations had to kind of rethink the balance between digital marketing and traditional sales efforts as the marketing audience kind of shifted the way that they consumed media. So what shifts have you seen lately in that respect, and what's working today when it comes to how COVID affected marketing?
I think it really changed so much. During the COVID lockdown era, I feel like marketing really overfunctioned because sales couldn't do the things that they had done previously. The evolution of that is that now the consumers that we see are doing so much more research before they ever pick up the phone. So making sure that your digital presence, your online brand, all of the information on your website is there so that they can gain the research that they want, so that they feel comfortable picking up the phone and allowing sales to really focus on that relationship and gaining trust and being able to talk about the value proposition. But by the time the consumer gets to sales now, post-COVID, they've already done all of that online. So
Yeah.
making sure that your digital spend is adequate, making sure that you're staying prevalent in the market, making sure
Hmm.
that your website has all of the information that they might need, as well as your social media. I think senior living's a little bit behind the eight ball when it comes to social media and influencing in that way. But as the generations come up and the older people get older and their influencers and their families are more digitally focused, your social media game has to be on point as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when folks get to you, they're a lot more educated. They're a lot further down the sales cycle than maybe they used to be.
Absolutely.
Viewing your social media on your website, they're arriving in a spot where you're not just answering millions of questions, but just kind of helping them select floor plans or, giving them tours and answering specifics about pricing. They're just armed with a lot more information than they used to be.
Mhm.
So looking ahead at trends, COVID was a disruption, AI is a trend. What other trends or disruptions do you believe will have the biggest impact on senior living marketing over the next few years? Is it AI or is it something else?
I actually think the biggest disruption in trends that we're going to see is the consumer themselves. The future
Yeah.
consumer, the boomer population coming in, it really is going to change the way we have to show what we have to offer. The newer consumers and the future consumers, they want more transparency. They want more personalization. It's not one size fits all. And they want more lifestyle driven messaging. So we really have to be able to adapt to what the consumer's looking for because everything they want is available digitally. So we have
Hmm.
to keep pace with what that consumer is really hoping to gain out of searching for senior living.
With access to that real-time data and trends, how do you decide when to pivot or double down on a campaign or something that's working? Or when do you abandon it? Like, I guess, what's the criteria? Is it always just conversion rate or are other things considered as well?
I don't necessarily think it's just conversion rate. And I say that because, Asbury Communities, we have the continuum of care. So our
Hmm.
sales cycle is longer than a standalone rental that's assisted living or memory care. So the sales cycle tends to be much longer. So the conversion rates take longer to gain access to that data. So we look at things, simple things, click rates, click-through rates. Somebody opened up maybe an email campaign, they opened it, did they actually click through the website? How many pages on the website did they click through? Did they fill out the form? Did they answer the phone when we called?
Hmm.
How quick
Right.
are they to tour? So the conversion from the start of the campaign to a tour, what's the time frame there? We look at all of those things. And then, I mean, obviously we look also at closing conversions and things like that, but our sales cycle is just so long that we look more at the granular data on the front end to see if people are engaged in the campaign. Because once
Hmm.
they get to our sales team, we've got them. The sales
Yep.
team is excellent. So that's really a lot of the things that we look at from a data perspective.
Nice. What's unique about your sales team that allows them to be excellent? Is there specific training that they go through, or you've just cultivated a good team, or any strategies you can share about closing the deal once the sales team takes it?
We have a sales team that's really unique because we have some salespeople who have been with Asbury for upwards of 25 years. And then we have some newer sales team members as well. I think what's worked best is they do have a solid sales training. We have a solid playbook. We talk about it a lot. We have open dialogue about what they may need, what barriers they're trying to overcome. We have constant communication about how we can remove those barriers and help them. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to the fact that the salespeople at Asbury are truly there for the consumer. They want
Hmm.
what's best for the consumer. They care about those relationships. They're some of the most empathetic and kind people I've ever worked with. I'm lucky to have them. There isn't anybody on our sales team that doesn't truly run from the heart.
Nice. And is there anything unique about the handoff between marketing and sales that makes that transition smoother? Or is it just tell me more about that, like the development of the lead and then the closure rate at sales?
I think what we've seen since we did incorporate sales, brand, and marketing under one umbrella is we've just seen a smoother transition overall. There's better communication, more willingness to listen to feedback and things like that. We also have great partners. So we know what our nurture campaigns look like and whether or not they're working. We know what to do with the marketing qualified leads versus the sales qualified leads. And if sales kicks a lead over to marketing for nurture, we also know when they reengage and come back to sales. So it's a really smooth transition and it really comes from great collaboration, communication, and alignment.
Hmm. Awesome. To wrap things up a little bit, just an open-ended question. If you had a magic wand, you could wave a magic wand and instantly solve one challenge that's been difficult to solve in the past when it comes to senior living marketing or sales, what would that be?
If I had a magic wand to wave, I would wave it across the older adult population and solve for the fact that they wait too long to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy what senior living communities have to offer and the benefits of being in a community style living.
Have you tried any approaches to fix that in the past? Or is it just an
I mean,
ongoing?
it's an ongoing challenge. We're constantly looking at ways to do it better and differently. We're really focused on that future consumer, how we can get them through our pipeline faster. So some of it is marketing campaigns, some of it is where we direct our campaigns towards. Spend a lot of time looking at zip codes and looking at demographic data and targeting specific groups of people based on the inventory that we have available. If we have inventory available that are small one bedrooms, will target solo seniors who
Sure.
maybe aren't divorced or widowed or are looking to move by themselves and don't need the 4,000 square foot home that they're living in. So we really do try to adjust to the younger population or the solo population based on what we have available and what we hope that they'll engage with.
hmm Awesome. Good answer. And that's a trend I think that's across all communities, is just trying to engage potential residents earlier so that they can enjoy the amenities and not just move in when they are close to needing assisted living or memory care anyway. So
Mhm.
enjoy the
Yeah.
independent part of independent living while it's still there.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got for you, Michelle. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
That's a wrap on this episode of The Net Result. A big thank you to Michelle Curnow for sharing such thoughtful insights on senior living leadership, data-driven marketing, team empowerment, and the future of AI and innovation in our industry. Her perspective reminds us that success in senior living is about more than metrics. It's about heart, alignment, and human connection. If you found today's conversation valuable, be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're in the senior living space and want to keep your strategies sharp, stay tuned for more interviews just like this one. Until next time, market smart, lead well, and adapt fast.